Okay, so today we are going to talk about linear programming itself. So we're going to understand what linear programming itself contains in whole. So the first thing that you need to understand when talk of linear programming is that the major thing required by an individual, the major thing required by an individual under linear programming is to find the maximum point of the given set of equations. The equations, of course, they are coming from the statement which we did in mathematics models, and also find the inequalities from a statement, from a given statement, and show them on a graph paper by shading the unwanted region. Also, you need to take this important note here. Note, all this is very, very important. Make sure you keep in mind. Note, all the lines drawn on a graph, they will form a triangle, and so the key thing is that the lines that you are going to draw, they will form a triangle, and it is from the triangle that you can use to find the maximum, minimum, or median point. So if you have the inequalities, the three inequalities or four inequalities that you're going to derive from the statement like we did in mathematics models, those inequalities, you're going to solve them like we did also in linear inequations. When you're solving those equations, you're going to solve them, come up with the coordinates, and those coordinates you're going to draw a graph. That graph you're going to draw, it should be in this format. The graph that you're going to draw, it's going to have three lines which will be touching each other, forming a triangle. And from this triangle, you'll be able to find the minimum, the maximum, and the median point. So we are saying that this kind of a triangle which is given here, as you can see, we have about three lines. We have this line which is going this side, and also we have this other line which is coming this side, and this other line which is coming this side. So we have three lines. So these three lines, when you have them, what you need to keep in mind is that you need to always understand that you're going to have the minimum point, the maximum point, and the median point. It is from this that you can solve any kind of equation that they may ask you. So let's read the next note. So note, so I wanted to say something here, meaning that in most of the question, you will most of the time be given a scale on how you supposed to draw the graph. This graph, you don't just draw this graph any which way you feel like, but you are going to be given a scale on how you should draw it. On how you should draw it, such as using a scale of 2 centimeters. So this is a very good example, such as they will give you using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 100 bottles on each axis. On each axis, draw X and Y axis. For this part is very important because this is the range. It means that on the X axis, this is my graph like this side is X axis, I'm going to draw numbers from 0 centimeter using a scale of 2 centimeters. So meaning that I'll use a scale from here to there, it is 2, and here to here from there it is 2, until I reach where it is 900. So this is what this entails us. The last digit should be 900, you shouldn't exceed. Same applies here. On the y-axis, they have also told you, start from 0 until you reach the far end, which is 900. So this will be the scale representing. Once you do this, then you are going to find it to be easy to even draw the graph like this. But if you just do it your own way, you have problems drawing the graph. So first thing first, let's look at the example, how we can do this work. Now let's look at the second board here, looking at the example. 2016 paper 2 in 10. This is our example. 2016 paper 2 in 10. Question 11. This is a Zambian paper. So if you check it, 2016 paper 2 in 10, you are going to discover, you are going to find this question. So we are going to answer this question. What is the question saying? Answer this question on a sheet of a graph paper. So this, keep note, this is very important. You don't just answer it any kind of a paper, but a graph paper. So when you reach your exam, make sure you ask for this before you even start answering the questions. I request for about 3 graph papers because they come about 2 questions that involves graph papers, and linear programming is one of them. So the question says, the question starts here. A healthy lobby group produced a guide to encourage healthy living among the local community. The group needed to decide the number of each format to be produced for sale to maximize profit. Okay, so this is a healthy group lobby which indeed wanted to produce some guide to encourage healthy living in the community. So now they decided, saying that they want to make this guide to produce a to maximize what? Profit. So they are saying let X, okay, let X represent the number of videos. So meaning that they are going to produce 2 things here, the videos, and Y, let Y represent the number of printed books. So we have 2 things that this guide, the guides that they are going to produce are 2 of them, which is the videos and the printed books. Now, how do I answer this? The question comes here next board. It's saying that, question 1, write the inequalities which represent each of the following conditions. Where are the conditions? Here are the conditions. Condition number 1 is saying, A, the number or the total number of copies produced should not be more than 800. So the keyword is produce and not be more than copies. So these copies, we know the copies is simply the videos, okay, the videos and the printed what? Books. The printed books. These are the 2 copies. So we are taught that let these videos be what? X, and let this be Y. So these are the 2 copies that are produced, the video and the printed books. So for me to write this inequality, it will be very simple because it will just be X plus Y. We are taught that the number of printed books, we are taught X plus Y should be not more than less or equal to 800. Then this will be my first inequality, and I'm done like that. Let's hope this is straightforward. Now let's come to this one. B, the number of videos or video copies. So this video copy is represented by letter X. Okay, video copies which is represented by letter X to be at least we know the symbol, at least is greater or equal to, and not more than, we know the symbol, not to be more than 800. This symbol we know that it is less or equal to. At least is greater or equal to 100. So they are saying that the X video, this video copies which is represented by X, should be greater or equal to 100. Then it means that we are done, the second inequality. Then what about the third inequality? The number of printed books, okay, printed books is represented by letter Y, according to the statement here. To be at least, again, to be at least we know the symbol is greater or equal to 200. So they are saying that Y should be greater or equal to 200. That's what they are simply saying. Printed books should be greater or equal to 200 to maximize the profit. Now, the other question, so it means that when you have this inequality, you have your mark, you have your mark, you have your mark there, correct? You have your 3 inequalities. These inequalities are the ones that you are going to show now on your graph. Listen to this statement. Using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 100 copies. So, 2 centimeters to represent 100 copies on both axes. Draw X and Y axis for, so this is the range, from 0 to 800 on the X axis. And again on the Y axis from 0 to 800. So it should be on the X axis which is 0 to 800. From the y-axis 0 to 800, you should not exceed this range. Otherwise, you are not going to get your answer accurate and you may be penalized. Respectively, and shade, the key word again is, once you draw the inequalities, shade the unwanted region to indicate clearly the region, okay, to indicate clearly the region where the solution of the inequalities lie. So these inequalities we have formulated, we need to draw a graph that will show these inequalities, and therefore we shade the unwanted region, and we shall see what we are looking for. The key word is we are trying to maximize the profit. So once we draw the inequality, we need to find the maximum profit these people made from the video copies that they made and from the printed books that they made. Let's draw the graph now. So you need to always know that you need to use the graph paper. But for the sake of teaching, I'm not going to use the graph paper. Just use the board for you to be able to just follow critically and nicely. So let's do it the next board here. Okay, so let's do it here so that you see how simple and straightforward it is. So we know that before we draw the graph, we need to understand that the first inequality we had, it was x plus y. This inequality should be less or equal to 800. That was the first inequality. Then B, the second inequality which we had, was simply x is greater or equal to 100. Then C, the third inequality we had was y is greater or equal to 200. So these are the inequalities. So these inequalities are going to present them on the graph. And how do I present them on the graph? You need to have a graph. In your graph paper, you draw a nice graph like this. Like that. Okay. Okay, good. So don't forget that the scale, they said that the scale should be, how I'm going to draw the graph, okay? The scale, okay. So the scale should be, for x-axis, should be from 0 is less or equal to x to less or equal to 800. And again, it should be this is for x-axis. Then for y, it should be 0 to less or equal to y, less or equal to 800. And using 2 centimeter to represent 100 units. So these are the key points on how to draw my graph there. 2 centimeters to represent 100 units or copies. So I'm saying that 2 centimeters on your graph is divided into 2 centimeters. Okay? This is going to be your graph. Your graph is always divided into 2 centimeters. Okay? Your graph will be like this, divided into 2 centimeters. Always 2 centimeters. So from here to there, it is 2 centimeters. Okay? From here to there, it is 2 centimeters. Therefore, we are simply saying that if it's from here to there is 2 centimeters, it means that from here to there is 2 centimeters. It simply means from here again to there is 2 centimeters. This is my box in your graph, they are divided into 2 centimeters. So what they mean is that if 2 centimeters represent 1 unit, it means that if this is my 0, then the next line on the 2 boxes it will be 100. This will be 200. This will be 300. Just like that. And this side it will be 100, 200, just like that, using a graph. So for me, I'm not going to use the graph here because I'm just doing it roughly. But when you have a graph like this, you are going to see what I'm talking about. In the next lesson, I'll show you on how the graph looks like. But now, let's do the practical way. We are simply saying that x. Now since we've seen this one, let's now do the next thing now. So we are going to name your graph. From x-axis we know is 0 to 800. So we are simply saying let's divide it to 100 to 8 parts. So from here to there should be 2 centimeters to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's proceed to 8. So, and always remember that this is my x-axis there. You show it like that. Then we come to the next part. We are saying it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And also this side we show that this is my y-axis there. So you have this, and from here to there it is 2 centimeters. From here to here 2 centimeters. Then now you follow the scale. You start from 0 to representing 100 copies. So it will be 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, and 800. That's what they say. So you also come this side to be 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, and 800. So we have done the scale and this scale correctly and this information correctly. So once you represent, you draw the scale like this, the graph like that, then now you still need to represent this on there now. It will be very simple. So how do I do it? Okay, so we are done with the scale. Let's see now how we can do these inequalities. Okay, so this is 100 there. Yeah? So the first inequality is A. So the first inequality which we have A, x plus y is less or equal to 800. This inequality, the way it is, you cannot represent it on the graph until you solve this equation. And so how do I solve this equation? We are going to make a box, okay? We are going to make a simple box there that will guide you on how to solve this equation. Because there are variables x and y we don't know. So we just say x there and y. We need to find two coordinates. So we're going to let x be equal to any number of your choice. That will help you to find the value for y. So let's say that if my x is equal to 0, what will be my y? So we just replace what there is x, you put 0, it will be 0 plus y is less or equal to 800. So y, therefore, is less or equal to 800 minus 0, which is y is less or equal to 800. So this will be 800. I found 0,800. Now, what if y is 0 itself? What will be my x? So, x therefore plus 0 is less or equal to 800. Therefore, x is less or equal to 800 minus 0, which is x is less or equal to 800. So, x again will be 800 if y is 0. So, these coordinates I have is more like you're saying 0, 800. The next part is be 800, 0. These coordinates are the ones that we are going to use to plot on the graph. So I'm going to say what is 0? This is my 800, I mean. Okay? This is my x and this is my y. Same applies, this is my x and this is my y. So on the x-axis, we know that 0, it is on the y-axis, x is equal to 0. So meaning 0, 800. So my dot, I put a dot first here, like that, for this single one. Then I come to the next one, 800, 0. I know for the fact that on the y-axis, y is equal to 0. On the x-axis, I mean, y is equal to 0. So it will be 800, 0. The dot will just be there. Okay, 800, 0. So I have two dots. Now here you need your ruler to draw this information nicely. You are going to draw this, representing it on your graph. Nicely with your ruler, you put your ruler there to there, 30 centimeter rule, and draw your line as accurate as possible in order for you to get the correct answer. So let's draw this line nicely. Okay. So it will go in this manner. From here, we are going all the way to 800 there. So the line should be straight, not like mine, but it should be straight. So once you draw this line, where the two line points are meeting, the next thing you need to do is to shade the inequality. So the key thing again when drawing, you need to look at this symbol. This symbol which is here. This is less or equal to, no wonder the line is solid. It's not a dotted line like this. If it was less symbol, it would have been a dotted. But in this case, it's like that. Then you shade the unwanted territory. This symbol is less or equal to. So we are going to shade the greater part, which is they don't want. So this part you shade it off because they don't want the greater side. So you shade by doing this. And therefore, you can name this line by saying that this line which I have shaded is x plus y is less or equal to 800. You are done with this one. You have shown it. We come to the next part. The next inequality. Okay? We come to the next inequality. So the next one, it is b, which is x is less or equal to 100. So this one is straightforward. It's more like x is equal to 100. So you just go where x is equal to 100. And we know that x lines are lines that run from north to south. So x is equal to 100 is just here. So I draw a straight line, which is, of course, cutting from there. Okay, going up like that. So that is x is equal to 100. You even name this line and say x is greater than what? Or equal to 100. Done. Like that. Now you shade the side. Now look here. This symbol is greater or equal to, meaning they don't want numbers which are less. So these are the numbers they don't want. You shade them off. You shade these numbers which are less than 100. We just want greater numbers. Then this one you are done. You come to C. C again is y is greater than or equal to 200. So this is same as y is equal to 200. So you go where y, on the y-axis where it is 200, and there you draw your line. So 200 on the y-axis is here. So here again, you look at the symbol. The symbol is for the solid line. So you draw a solid line from here. Okay? All the way like that. That is a solid line. And therefore now, you can name this line to say, this line is y is greater or equal to 200. Then you'll be done. Now shading the part. It is greater symbol. So you shade the lesser side. So you shade this side which is less than 200. You shade it off like that. When you shade it off like that, you'll be seeing these three inequalities have formulated a very nice triangle. We can call this triangle P. It has formulated a nice triangle P here, which you can easily see. And these lines, they are meeting in 3 points, there and there. And you can easily get the coordinates for here to maximize the profit. So this will be 100. This coordinate for here, where the line is meeting, is x is 100, 200. And for here, it is 700. This coordinate for here, we know we have seen it is 700, 200. Good. And also for here now, it is 100, 700. 100, 700. X is 100, y is 700. Here x is 100, y is 200. Here x is 700, y is 200. So we have these points. So these points are the ones that are going to help you now to find the maximum point. Okay? These are the points that will help you to find the maximum point. Okay, so now let's finish the question. Okay, so the question is not complete. We have only answered half of it by finding the inequalities and also showing the inequalities on the graph which we have drawn. Now let's find the last part of the question. Okay. The last part of this 2016 paper of internal, paper 2 internal, is underlinear programming is the profit on the sale of each video copy is 15 kwacha. Of what? Each video copy is 15 kwacha. While the profit on each printed book is 8 kwacha. How many? So this question is how many of each type were produced to make the maximum profit. So keep in mind, how many is a question of numbers. It's not a question of amount. So here, they are simply asking us to find the number of video copy that gave us this profit, and also the number of printed books that gave us this profit. That's all. And these numbers, you find them on the graph that we have drawn. So this is the graph that we have drawn here. And as you can see, we have put the coordinates. I put the coordinates 100, 200, 700, 200, and 100, that. So you get the maximum. The maximum, when you hear the word maximum, okay, when you hear the word maximum, it's the same way we talk of the large. It's the same way largest. When we say largest, that's what we mean. Maximum, we simply mean the largest. So what are those largest numbers, or maybe the biggest numbers that makes the maximum profit? Look at this one. This is 100 and this is 200. When you add them together, you just get 300, which is not big. This is 700 and this is 100. When you add them, you get 800, which is not big. But when you add this, 700, you see this one, we have 700 and 200. These ones are the largest numbers. Hence, they make these two coordinates which are here, they make the maximum what? Number. These the maximum numbers. Okay, these they make the maximum numbers. So we get the same one. We are going to say, we know the first inequality, which is x plus y is less or equal to 800. Okay? X plus y is less or equal to 800. So we are only interested in the first part, which is x and y. How many of these x videos and how many of these y copies should make the maximum profit? We are saying that we have the coordinate which is 700, 200. So these are the coordinates that will make the maximum profit. So all we have to do is to say the maximum profit can be made by this is my x and this is my y. So to conclude, we are saying that the maximum what? Now the maximum profit will be made by how many each video copy? 700 video copies, and how many printed books? 200 printed books. Done. So this is how you answer the last part. So if you haven't drawn the graph nicely, then you cannot get this last answer the way it is, like this. We have identified 700 and 200, and these are coming from the graph. So the graph is very important and helpful to help you maximize the profit, to find the maximum profit. So sometimes they will ask you to find the maximum income, sometimes they might ask you to find the number. So if they do to ask the number, then you get it like this. So the next video will be on how to find the maximum profit in the amount now, not the number, how many, but what amount we are going to talk about. Hence, this we shall end here for today.